Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, Purusha Sukta confirmed. This is the last verse in Chapter 6. Text number 46. Pradanyata yan Rishe Amanati Lila Avataran Purushasya Vamna Apriyatam Karna Kashaya Shoshan Anukamishye Te Iman Supeshan Hanyadayan Risha Amananti Lilavataran Purushasya Bhumnaha Apiyatam Karna Kashaya Shoshan Anukamishye Taiman Supeshan Jnanyatayan Risha Amananti Lilabhataran Purushasya Brahmaha Apiyadan Karna Kashaya Shoshan Nukamishe Taiman Supeshan Jnanyatayan Risha Amananti Lilabhataran Purushasya Brahmaha Apiyatam Karna Kashaya Shoshan Anukramishye to emancipation.
Adanyanto yan Vishwa Amananti Lila Vitaran Purusha Shabhunaha Apiyatam Karma Kashaya Shoshan Anukramishye Taiman Supeshan
Pradanyato yan vishamananti Lilavataran purushasya bhumna Apiyatang karna kashaya shoshan Anukramishye taiman supeshan
Pradanyato yan vishamananti Lilavataram Purusha Bhumna Apiyatam Karna Kashaya Shoshan Anukramishye Taiman Supeshan. Shamananti
Pradanyato yan Vishwa Amananti Lilavataran Purushasya Bhumnaha Apiyatam Karna Kashaya Shoshan Anukramishye Taiman Supeshan.
Radayato yadasha amnirati Lilavataran purushasya bhimna Apiyatam karanakashasya soshan Anukramishet iman supeshan
Briefly, young all those Shay, O Narada, Amananti, worship, Leela, pastimes, Avataran, incarnations, Purushasya, of the personality of Godhead, Bhumna, the Supreme, Apiyatam, in order to be relished by you, Karna, ears, Kashaya, all matter, Shoshan, that which evaporates, Anukamisye, shall state one after another, they, Yaman, as they are in my heart, Supeshan, all pleasing to hear. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O Narada, now I shall state one after another the transcendental incarnations of the Lord, known as Leela avatars. Hearing of their activities counteracts all foul matters accumulated in the ear. These pastimes are pleasing to hear and are to be relished. Therefore, they are in my heart. Report. As it was said in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam 158, one cannot be fully satisfied by hearing unless and until one is given a chance to hear of the transcendental activities of the Lord. So Brahmaji is also trying in this verse to stress the importance of narrating the transcendental pastimes of the Lord as he comes and manifests himself here on the surface of the material planets. Every living entity has a tendency to hear pleasing messages, and as such, almost every one of us is inclined to hear news and talks broadcast by the radio stations. The difficulty is that no one is satisfied at heart by hearing all those messages. The cause of such dissatisfaction is the incompatibility of the message with the innermost stratum of the living soul. This transcendental literature is especially prepared by Srila Vyasadeva to give the utmost satisfaction to the people in general by narration of the activities of the Lord, as instructed by Sri Narada Muni to Srila Vyasadeva. Such activities of the Lord are principally of two varieties. One concerns the mundane manifestation of the material creative force, and the other deals with his pastimes in the form of different incarnations in terms of the time and place. There are innumerable incarnations of the Lord, like the waves of the river flowing constantly in and out. Less intelligent persons take more interest in the creative forces of the Lord in the material scientific research. The devotees of the Lord, however, know well how the creative forces work concurrently of the action and reaction of the material energy of the Lord. Therefore, they take more interest in the transcendental activities of the Lord as he incarnates himself on the surface of the material world. Srimad Bhagavatam is the history of such activities of the Lord, and people who take interest in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam clear their hearts of accumulated mundane filth. There are 1,001 rash literatures on the market, but one who has taken interest in the Srimad Bhagavatam loses all interest in such filthy literatures. Sri Brahmaji is thus attempting to narrate the principal incarnations of the Lord so that they may be drunk by Narada as transcendental nectar. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is a transcendental nectar, which is relished by the Paramahamsas. And those of us who are not Paramahamsas, we also can benefit by hearing such transcendental literatures. And even the Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God, even he was not satisfied by compiling all the Vedas because he had not yet narrated the activities of the Lord. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada refers to Srimad Bhagavatam 158, which is as follows: Srinardu Vacha Bhavatunadita Prayam Yasho Bhagavatomalam Yanai Vasa Tushyeta Maneta Darshanam Kilam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Narada said, "You have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. That philosophy, which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord, is considered worthless." For the eternal relation of an individual soul with the Supreme Soul, personality of Godhead, is constitutionally one of being the eternal servitor of the eternal master. The Lord has expanded himself as living beings in order to accept loving service from them, and this alone can satisfy both the Lord and the living beings. Such a scholar as Vyasadeva has completed many expansions of the Vedic literatures, ending with the Vedanta philosophy, but none of them have been written directly glorifying the personality of Godhead. Dry philosophical speculations, even on the transcendental subject of the Absolute, have very little attraction without directly dealing with the glorification of the Lord. The personality of Godhead is the last word in transcendental realization. The Absolute is realized as impersonal Brahman or localized Supersoul, Paramatma, is less productive of transcendental bliss than the supreme personal realization of his glories. The compiler of the Vedanta Darshan is Vyasadeva himself, yet he is troubled, although he is the author. So what sort of transcendental bliss can be derived by the readers and listeners of Vedanta, which is not explained directly by Vyasadeva, the author? Herein arises the necessity of explaining Vedanta Sutra in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam by the self-same author. So Prabhupada writes that there are 1,001 rash literatures on the market. You go to in the mundane library and you'll find millions of books on millions of varieties of subject matters, but almost none of them were in relationship with the personality of Godhead. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is very important. This is the most important history, because this is the history of the important activities that took place not only on this planet, but in various planets in the universe. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is unique because it gives the history of the whole universe, of the various planets. And the most important activities are described there. And all of them are in relationship with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Lord incarnates in innumerable thousands of different forms, like the waves of the river. When you're on the river in a boat, you see the many waves coming every second. And these waves are coming without limit. And the incarnations of God are like that. Jai Shri Shri Gauranatai. And Shri Shri Gauranatai have come here to Kansas City due to their great mercy and compassion for the fallen souls. And Gauranatai are the essence of all incarnations. All incarnations are present in Krishna and Balaram in the form of Shri Shri Gauranatai. And when Lord Chaitanya came here 500 years ago, sometimes he manifested in different forms for the pleasure of his devotees who are attached to different forms. Sometimes he manifests as Vraha. Vraha, the bull incarnation, is the first of the 10 incarnations described by Jayadeva Goswami and Sri Dasaparam Stotra, which is a section of the great Gita Govinda. The Gita Govinda should not be relished by Nephites like myself, but the section of the 10 incarnations can be relished by everyone. And these Leela avatars come to perform specific functions, and all of them act wonderfully, just like the Vraha incarnation came to save the earth when the earth was submerged in the water of the Garbhadaka Ocean. This is merging in the ocean was due to the activities of a demon, Hiranyaksha. By his mining activities, he disturbed the orbit of the earth, and the earth fell down to the Garbhadaka Ocean. So these disturbances are going on today in the form of extracting oil by the demons, the deep in the structure of the earth, and this oil in the earth serves a purpose, and when this purpose is obstructed by the demons, then it may loses its balance, and we see today that many calamities are happening due to soric activities on the surface of the earth. So this Krishna consciousness movement is an attempt to save the earth, not only this earth, but actually this movement is going on not only on this planet, but all over the universe. This ocean of love of Godhead is spreading all over this universe. And this is the prime benediction by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is a declaration of war against Maya. So the devotees are going out and they're distributing love of God to counteract the activities of the demoniac population. So this is a description of the activities of the Lord given by energy to Narada, his son and the disciple. Narada in turn was the spiritual master of Srila Vyasadeva. Even a great incarnation like Srila Vyasadeva, just to set the example, he also accepted as spiritual master. These transcendental activities of the Lord are broadcast widely in the form of books and the form of songs. Then this is the greatest benediction to humanity. There's so many nonsense movies coming out of Hollywood nowadays. Nowadays there's a nonsense movie called Spider-Man, and then in the news last week, there's a story of an 8-year-old boy who took a black widow spider and they put it on his hand because he wanted to get bit, because he wanted to become Spider-Man. Because in the Spider-Man movie, the narration is there's a radioactive black widow spider, and when a man from New York was bitten by this radioactive black widow spider, he turned into Spider-Man. So this is just an imaginary story, and it has no benefit to the conditioned souls. But Srimad Bhagavatam, all the great scholars take it as the absolute truth, and no one should take Srimad Bhagavatam as imaginary or mythology. This is a history. This is the most important history, and by hearing this history, one can become relieved of the attraction to this mundane material world and go back to Godhead, and that's the highest perfection of life. Any comments or questions? Yes. Damodar Prabhu.
Right. Sure. So, incarnations. Like Jesus, that's So I was wondering if you, because I know it doesn't seem like it's saying you never consider that she get to be the supreme personality. Try that. Something concerns all the supreme personality. So, this is a question of the second. Is just like
Chaitanya, in his prayers to the Lord, Sikshastika, he prays to the Lord that you have many millions of names, and all of them are different nominations of the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there's Yahweh, Krishna, Narasimhadev, Gauratai, so many innumerable forms of the Lord, and all of them are equal in quality to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnations. Krishna is not exactly an avatar. He's an avatari. He's the source of all avatars. And Krishna has many millions of names, Yahweh and Jehovah and so forth. Allah is also a name of the Supreme Lord. And as far as Muhammad and Jesus goes, they're called Shaktavesh avatars. They are not Vishnu taught, but they are Jiva taught, but they are Shaktavesh avatars. They're empowered incarnations of the Lord. And they come to spread the love of God. Thank you for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Now it's time for the Sankirtan Festival. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Will you bring all the boys and instruments? Okay. Okay, so what we have now so there should be about 6 distributors this week. We're going to announce the Sankirtan scores for the pleasure of Sri Sri Gauranitai, Lord Nrsimhadev, and Prahlad Maharaj, Tulsi Maharani, Vaishnav Acharyas, and all the dissembled devotees. Of course, Srila Prabhupada. So, let us begin. Okay, so if there's any more scores from Jagannath or Radha Damodar, please send it into the services chat. Okay, so there's about 6 distributors this week, and we'll start out from the bottom in 6th position with 2 small books for a total of 0.5 book points. Mridanga Prabhu. Haribol. In 5th position with 17 small books, 2 medium books, and 1 Maha Big book for a total of 2 plus 1, 2, 3 plus 3, 1. 7.25 book points. Subal Sakya Prabhu. Okay. So then in 3rd position, with 1.1 medium book, 2 big books, and 4 Maha Big books for a total of 7.5 book points. Jiva Daya Prabhu. And so I said that was 3rd. Looks like we have, yeah, that was 4th. So this one 3rd with 16 small, 10 medium, 3 big, and 2 Maha Big for a total of 4. No problem. 4 plus 3, 7 plus 5, 12, 16 book points. Haribol. And then, what was it? Oh, Jai Keshava Prabhu. Haribol. So then we have in 2nd with 3 small, 5 medium, 24 big, 22 Maha Big, and 1 Srimad Bhagavatam set for a total of 123.25 book points. Magadari Das. And we do have a partial score right now, but in 1st position with at least 3 Srimad Bhagavatam sets for a total of 216 book points. Rishi Kumar Prabhu. Hey. So we'll try to get a highlight from Rishi Kumar Prabhu soon. I can give one. So there was the India Fest. It's a cultural event for supporting India, and we went there representing ISKCON, and our wonderful friend Vineet Prabhu, he sponsored our booth and arranged for us to be there, and it was really nice. Rishu Kumar set up a really cool spread at the booth, and yeah, we were inviting people in and asking where they're from and making them feel comfortable. And then we were asking for donations to help with our temple and to help spread Sanatan Dharma. And one gentleman came and he wanted to say most people don't ask how much the books cost, but this person, he came and he said, I'd like to buy this Bhagavad Gita. How much is this book? So he was already in that type of thinking that he wanted to take some books. And I said, well, devotees are giving a donation. And we showed him a little flyer which has the donation categories. One says bronze, silver, and in gold. And they have different details underneath. So he said, devotees are giving donations. And I pointed there to the list. You can give from the heart, whatever you like. And he decided to give $308 as a donation. So we gifted him the Srimad Bhagavatam set and 2 Bhagavad Gitas. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Okay, so now I'd ask Jaikeshwar Prabhu to come and give his highlight.
Hare Krishna. So I have a friend that I met in New Vrindavan. His name's TJ. Some of the devotees know him here. He's currently living in Yogiville, which is an ashram of a different kind of practice, but he practices bhakti and he's doing some organic farming. So he asked if I would send him some books. So a lot of those books of my score were from that postage I sent him. Transcendental Book Distribution Key. Subal Saka Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So we were fortunate enough to do a home program for his pleasure, Srila Prabhupada's distribution and Vedic culture dissipation. So Maharaj Dhanavir Goswami was giving a lecture, and he was mentioning the Bhagavad Gita, and one of the ladies in the audience, she indicated that she didn't have a Bhagavad Gita. So I tried to remember that. And then after the lecture, I inquired, and she indicated, yeah, she doesn't have a Bhagavad Gita. And so I told her that we have one just for her. And she was very happy, and she took it and passed the donation. So Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.
We were doing Harinam at the plaza, and I met a nice couple that was there, and they were enjoying the chanting, and I gave them two small books and collected a donation. Transcendental Book Distribution, Ki Jai.
Thanks everyone for their wonderful book distribution. For the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada.